Beep beep, what is up ninjas? My name is Samworld, and today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to nail the Psytrance bass line every single damn time. As you guys know, I've been working on a Psytrance pack which is coming out this Friday, and I did have my difficulties with it. I have my difficulties with every pack where it's a new genre I'm kind of getting into, but the sound designer side of me obviously is like, I know how to make all the sounds, but putting them together, well, that's a different story. And one of the things that really made me go crazy this past week was the sound of the Psytrance bass line. Now, I'm not talking about making the presets or the sound design of it, but I'm talking more about how to achieve that mix sound that a lot of the big Psytrance producers, the ones you hear on Beatport, are achieving. So this video is going to help you in achieving that. We are going to be using the pack that is coming out this Friday called Psytrance Revolution. So if you need a Psytrance pack, look no further, support your boy, and let's get straight into this tutorial. Alright guys, and now for this tutorial you're going to need a couple of things. One, you're going to need a lot of determination because you might be here all day. Two, you're going to need a plugin called Reference, or you can use a free one called Span. Pretty much what we're going to be doing, guys, is going to be referencing a track, which leads us to thing number 3 that you need. And you're going to need a Psytrance track that you hopefully bought or you have in very high quality that you're going to be able to reference for this. And the last thing is that track is going to need to have a drop or an introduction or an intro where it's just a kick and the bass playing. Now the good thing is that Psytrance is going to be the pretty boy, the nice guy with a little bit of geekiness of EDM where it slowly builds to something. So you'll find a lot of Psytrance bass drops where it's just a kick in the bass, while as in the other genres like Big Room, 30 seconds in, you're already at the drop, you know, 30 seconds of first date and then and you never see them again. Man, that was such a bad joke, but whatever. Let's get straight into this tutorial. Alright guys, so here we are inside of Ableton, and this is going to be my reference track here, the Vinny Vici one. And the part I'm going to be referencing is this part here, which sounds like this. Okay, now the first thing you want to do is get to that part and click there on reference. Now, here's going to be my version right now, which, you know, has everything turned off on it. Keep that in mind. That's why it sounds like shit. But we're going to get it to sound like Vinny Vici. So the first thing is going to be, guys, to have a kick and a bass of your choosing and have it play equally as loud. And let's get rid of these layers here. So we want to have this play as loud as Vinny Vici's track, which is around -9. -8, -8.6. It's going to be a -8.9. So I have a glue compressor that we're going to use in the master to get it to be as loud as his. Okay, so from there, we're going to start to add other layers. Now, I know it's not exactly the same, but I already have all of this done, and I'm just going to explain everything and the mistakes I made in this tutorial, guys. But hopefully this helps you guys out. So gonna be loud there. Now the next thing you want to do is you want to choose a preset that you're going to use as your sub, and it's going to be one of the more important things. Use an EQA to get rid of it, and a little bit of saturation, warm up the lows there. Now with the saturation here, you do want to make sure that you are saturating the right frequency. You know, you can use note ref frequency charts you can find online, which tells you the frequency of a note at a certain spot. So for us, it's going to be around the C sharp area. So let's say that we wanted to do that here. Well, easily we can bring up this plugin called Corpus, and, you know, or this audio effect from Ableton, turn it off, and then you can find, you know, the frequency that we need to saturate. So for our Psytrance song, it's actually going to be, let's find a C sharp 2, 135.20. So let's do that here, 135.20 or close to that. I don't think it lets us get it exactly there, but we can apply it. 135. And there we are. Turn it off. On. You can see it gives it a little bit more body. So this is going to be our sub. We're going to have a sidechain here, and the sidechain is going to be in reverse to the kick. So if the kick ends at the halfway mark of the bar, which is going to be here, as you can see, then your sidechain should definitely be around here. Here with the kick now. And you can see our low end is pretty much there where it needs to be right now. Now, one mistake I made doing this, guys, and I'll tell you right off the bat, was that I put the sub too low. I thought it should be down here. And the way I caught this mistake was pretty simple. I use this plugin called Span, which shows me the frequency spectrum of the Vinny Vici track. And notice how the track, actually the sub of it, is not going to be low here like the one I had originally, but it's actually up here at 68.9. So that's when I knew that I made a mistake, so I put it back up. And that's how we... Now take off the hold, check it out. Now this is right. This is kind of wrong, as you can see. We're starting to get that more low there. So that's where I caught that mistake, so that goes up. And that's one of the cool things about span and reference that we can do, is we can catch those little mistakes if you know how to read the graph. So from there, guys, we're going to have our mid and top layers. And honestly, pick sounds that you think sound good and then just use them as mid layers. For instance, the first preset here is a preset from the Psytrance Revolution pack called BA to Mars, which is going to sound like this. So we're going to use an EQ8 to cut the highs and only get the mids on this. And an OTT. Now, if we have these three playing, or two, it sounds a bit, let's add the sidechain here. Now, the next one we have is BA Muerte. So we add an EQ and OTT on that as well. And we get that. So now this sounds like this together. You can definitely put these up an octave, I think, now that I'm thinking about it. So why don't we try that? Now, I actually like it a lot better down here. It has this nasty dirty boy vibe. And then we have a top layer as well, which we just used an EQ to get rid of the highs. And as you can see, they come together to give you a pretty nice bass. Now, a couple of things to note here. Using the reference, you're going to start to notice, you know, let's say the top layer is like too low. We get rid of this EQ8. You can see that we're missing a bit of highs. So in order to give it that high, we're going to use this EQ8 and boost that top bass. That's one of the things I found out as well about my top layer. So now if we go back, we're there where it needs to be now. The other thing was kind of like the mids were lacking, but that was due to the kick. So boosting in parts where the kick is actually going to be like where it's at its strongest, I was able to get that mid to come up. So pretty much here, if I get rid of the kick, go into the kick and turn this up. And now we hear with the reference real fast. You can see I'm lacking in the highs and the lows there. So I had to boost on the kick actually here in the center and on the top end, which really helped in getting that sound that I was going for. You can see it's kind of moving around, but as long as you get close to that 0 dB line, you're almost there. And it doesn't have to be exactly identical to Vini Vici, but definitely use it as a guide. As you guys can see here, I did various other things. Like on the sub, you want to kind of reduce in the 30 hertz range, and I learned this from Adam Ellis. And then you can kind of reduce here on this resonating frequency that you can find by just boosting up and hearing that nasty ass one that comes after the main portion of the bass. Then you have your mids layers and your top layer that you're going to be altering. But the most important thing about this, guys, was pretty much that, using that as a tool. The last thing I do need to say, and this is where it gets hard, is that you're going to start to see these pink lines start to pop up. Now, if it's faint like that, then you're good. But sometimes it might be super pink. Like this. Check it out. Now, all that means is that your track at these bands is less compressed than the original. When the dots are moving away from the middle line, that's what that means. When the dots are moving towards it, that means yours is more compressed. So that's why I decided to put OTT here on these layers to kind of get them a little bit more compressed, and one on the master, a multi-band compression there. And that will get rid of that pinkish, and you're gonna kind of see it start to kind of faint away. So I'm a little bit louder than he is now.
But yeah, so that's all that you're gonna have to do. And keep in mind, this does get a little bit confusing at times, and it's sometimes a pain in the butt because it takes a while to update. But following these things, hopefully this kind of helps you guys achieve that bass. You know, if I had to kind of do this tutorial without using reference, then I would just say you need to have a mid layer, a top layer separate, because it's going to allow you to control the volume a lot better in those bands and not influence the low end. And then you can, with the sub by itself, you can kind of control the low end a little bit better and do its own little sidechain, which is a little bit more drastic. All right, ninjas. So with that being said, that's going to be the tutorial. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. And hopefully you guys kind of can go in and practice this and get, you know, layer of bass lines that you never thought were possible. And I'll see you guys next time, ninjas. You guys take care. And if you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments. And I'll see you guys next time. You guys have an amazing day. And Psytrance Revolution will be out this Friday if you want to support the channel.